It's really nice to talk to you, George. Thanks for taking the time to speak with the listeners on Craic with Mac. I've noticed the way you smile when you talk and even when you're singing. That tells me you must be enjoying what you're doing.
Well, you know what? I think because we're speaking on behalf of everybody on the stage. You know, we've got this great job. We're working in one of the best shows that I've seen, and I don't think there's anything up there that doesn't make you smile. We're just having such a good time doing the job. And, you know, it is so much fun. I mean, the only hard thing about doing Celtic Thunder is being away from home for so long, but the job itself is it's a pleasure to just go and have fun on stage.
Well, it's now 2013, and I guess you've just taken down the tray and put away the lights for another year. It must be nice getting time out from all that touring that you're doing and spend some time with the family.
Yeah, it was great. We had just completed a 4-month tour in the States. And in the States and Canada, and it was great to go home. I had 4 weeks at home with my wife and my daughter. She had just turned 12 there at the end of the year, so it's always a pleasure. And she was speaking to me. She says, "How hard it is when you go away, Dad, and I miss you. But you don't. You know, you've got the coolest job in the world, and I love you doing it because I get a chance to come and see you in all of these cool places." So I got a lot of support from home, and I had a few weeks there when I was back home with my wife and my daughter, and so it was great to be back home.
Is your daughter still doing the Irish dancing, George?
You know what, she didn't. She actually gave that up so she could take up playing Celtic fiddle. So she plays in an Irish Ceilidh band at the moment.
And she's teaching you. She's teaching you a wee bit of the fiddle, I'm told.
Well, she's a lot better than I could ever be, I think. She's doing pretty phenomenal with it. And she's been doing it for 6 years, I think. And it's great when you go back home. You can see how well she's advanced after I've been away for so long. So I don't think I'll ever be anywhere near as good as what she does. But we do get a chance to play along with each other. That I'm playing guitar, or if I'm playing flute and she's playing the fiddle, then we get a chance to do a couple of wee kind of duets.
Just briefly, George, as one of 9 children, you started singing early in your life. Did everyone in your family appreciate the singing at home?
Do you know what they didn't? Yeah, whenever there'd be a party at home, they would always let George get the guitar out. That kind of thing would happen. But it's funny to think that I'm one of 9. I'm the only one who's has a musical job, and none of them really play anything. So, but it's what I did notice is all the nieces and nephews, they all play one thing or another because my brothers and sisters have made sure of it. So I'm fortunate in that position that I did follow my dream and learn to play the guitar and later on the flute and just mess about with other instruments. So it's always a lot of fun to do that. So
your father Bernard was a great influence in your life?
Yes, he was. He was always musically influenced, and I think his big hero was Louis Armstrong. And so there was always a lot of music on in the house, and just I'm pretty fortunate that I took it upon myself to learn the guitar, and the next thing I was looking. After learning it, I'd learned to sing a couple of songs with it, and then I was on holiday one year, and I seen a guy playing in a bar, and I just thought, this is what I want to do for a living. So I've been doing that. I think I started singing in folk clubs and when I was about 20 years old, and I've been doing it ever since. And then Celtic Thunder came along. They were holding auditions in Ireland because they planned to create this. Sharon Brown planned to create this new show she had in mind, and they were doing auditions in Ireland and in Scotland, and that was the long story short of how I got involved in Celtic Thunder, and it's just been amazing. It's been going so fast. The last 6 years have flown past, and the achievements of Celtic Thunder have just been phenomenal.
So that passion for singing and playing music has brought you much further than the 500 miles.
Yes, it certainly has. It's brought me right down to the furthest point I can be from home, and that's over here. And I'm in Sydney at the moment, so
yeah, somewhere near the Opera House there.
I'm not too far from it. I think I'm about half an hour's walk from the Opera House.
It's now 2013, George. I guess you've just taken down so many things. You had a gig there for the Hurricane Sandy recently in New York.
Celtic Thunder had?
Yeah, the benefit gig.
Yes, we had all got together. We were on tour of the States, and we were away over on the West Coast. We had just done a show in Seattle, but it had been planned to come over and to play a gig in New York for all the people who were affected by Hurricane Sandy. So we flew straight across America to New York, stayed there for 2 days, done the show, and then flew all the way back over to the West Coast to do our final show on the tour, which was in Los Angeles. So yeah, maybe it's, you know, I think if there's any way you can help anybody out, then I think it's just great to be in that position to do something for them and try and raise some funds and definitely help when you can, I suppose.
That's absolutely fantastic, George. So what's different this time with the Celtic Thunder tour in Australia?
Well, when we toured Australia last year, we had a limited amount of material that had been released here. So we only sung songs from the albums and DVDs, so CDs and DVDs that had been released in Australia. But now, pretty much, we've got a whole back catalogue that we can use, because I think everything's been released down here, so you can buy any CD. And so one of the things I'm looking forward to is I had been singing a song which was written by one of my heroes, Harry Chapin, a song called "The Cat's in the Cradle."
Beautiful song.
Yeah, it's an amazing song with amazing lyrics and it just the whole. Sorry?
Harry Chapin himself, it talks a wee bit about his relationship there with his father, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's more about his son, about him being away and losing out on meeting his son, and I think it's possibly even relevant to pretty relevant to myself, spending so much time away from home doing my job and missing your family growing up round about you, and basically when you're looking for them when you're older, they're not looking for you anymore.
Yes.
I think that's what the song's trying to say. But I just think Harry Chapin was a phenomenal songwriter, and I was hugely influenced on him in the songs that I write myself.
Is he from New York, George?
Yes, he's from Long Island.
And
sorry?
I was just going to say, you put that on your new album, The White Rose.
Yes, I had written a song about him I simply called it a song for Harry Chapin, and I sent it to his family, to his wife in particular, and I became good friends with his family now, and they became fans of Celtic Thunder. So It went full circle. So, and I put that song in The White Rose. As I say, I was so influenced by him. I would say that my major influences would be the likes of him or Christy Moore. I'm a big fan of him. And Jim Croce, I was a big fan of his kind of songwriting as well.
Alabama Rain was a lovely song that Jim Croce did.
Yes, I think the first song I heard from him was Time in a Bottle.
Yeah, that speaks enormously, doesn't it, about where he was in his life at that time.
Yeah, I woke up to that in the morning and I just, this guy is amazing. I got up and wrote his name down and went out and bought an LP, it would be at that time, of Jim Croce, and I just thought, this guy's amazing. So would you be doing them songs like in Jimmy McGinty's, was it? Ginty McGinty's over in Glasgow? Yeah, I'd been playing there when I started doing a lot of gigs in the folk clubs and the bars. Ginty McGinty's was one of the early ones that I ever played in, over 20 years ago, and they were great to stick by me and keep me going. So I just think it's great. When I'm not on tour with Celtic Thunder, I always go back and do my gigs in her bar.
Just jumping forward a wee bit, I noticed there's a new musical director and 2 lineup changes since the last time Celtic Thunder were here. Yeah, a couple of the lads have moved on to pursue their own their own careers and what they're looking for from life. So one of them he went into the Glee program, and Paul he moved to New York and he's gone a solo career. But we have Emmett Cahill, who's from Mullingar in Ireland. He's pretty much doing a lot of the classical kind of singing on the show, and Neil, who was a guitarist on the original show, so he came forward. He was always a bit shy to come forward with the singing, but we forced him to do it. So he was singing backstage or in rehearsals, and then he wasn't reluctant. Then he was one of the. He would do a lot of backing vocals when we were singing. So, and whenever you would hear him, when he was not on stage, he was always a great singer. But he'd never came across on stage, and the opening came for him to do it, and he's totally embraced it. So it's back to the 5 of us on stage. So myself, there's Ryan Kelly and Keith Harkin. So, and we're all having a phenomenal time. As I say, we've all just sort of arrived here in Australia, and we've got a couple of days of promotional work down here in Sydney, and we're heading up to Cairns in a couple of days' time, and then it's
couple of days rehearsals, and then we hit the road. So we're so looking forward to it.
It's always a great family show with the collection of works that you do with the Celtic and the contemporary songs. And I noticed this time you've got the great band with Celtic Thunder, and they're playing some excellent arrangements. You've got a couple of fellow Scots there with the musical director and the cello player.
Yeah, that's it. Dave Monroe is Dave Monroe and Laura, the girl who plays cello. They're both from Glasgow, the same place I'm from. I used to be the lone Scotsman going on tour with them.
That's good.
But do you know what? I held my own as well as you would expect. But it was just great to go on tour and actually hear a Glasgow accent when you're on tour.
Do you know, George, somewhere between the Irish and the Scottish folk scene, there's this balance or a common ground with the love of the ancient tradition of song and dance?
Yeah, that's totally, because so often you get asked, what is it that makes Celtic music what it is? And I think, it is what it is because of that. There's that connection, especially with the Scottish and Irish. There's a storytelling, there's hanging on to the heritage of the country. And, the past between Scotland and Ireland has been sad. There's a lot of sad tales came from the history. And I think that it's great that, whether it be good stories or bad stories, it's great that they're kept alive in song, and it keeps the history alive in song, and it's a culture a lot of people like to hang on to. It's great to be part of a circle that keeps the stories alive, and it's to me, folk music and Celtic music is all about stories. And I like to think, even when I'm doing solo stuff, that I've got a lot of stories about old songs for the past in Scotland and in Ireland, and I think that's a lot of people find it very tangible for themselves. And they consider themselves to have a Celtic past, or because there's so many folk, especially in Australia, that have come from Ireland or come from Scotland, and it's great to see the old heritage kept alive.
I think there's a mistake with the music and the songs that Celtic Thunder do that provides an escape for the audience, and it pulls everything back together again at the end of the show.
Yeah, we've got Ireland's Call, which was written by Phil Coulter, which became a bit of an anthem for the show. And it's good. I think it's good that the strength in the show as the escapism that people can get, and it's good to hear the contemporary music, because it's a show with something for everyone in it, and because it crosses so many age barriers. I mean, I'm one of the oldest guys in the show, and I think there was a 25-year age difference from the oldest to the youngest, and that's something for everything that's in the show. That's got something, as I say, one of the major strengths in it.
George, I'd like to just briefly go through what you're doing currently with penning songs, and in specific the White Rose album. It's certainly, I had a look at it on the YouTube. You've got about 13,000 hits so far with the song. And the images are a very original and unique look at World War II.
Yes, I'd written that song. I go over to Germany a lot, and I've got a lot of friends over there. And I would visit them frequently enough. And I remember just on the subject came up about what happened in the Second World War. And I said, it's funny to think that no one ever tried to do anything about it in Germany. And my buddies were saying, there were people who did try to, but they paid the ultimate price for even trying to think about it. And so I went home and I'd done a bit of research into the Sophie Scholl, who was the girl who was one of the members of the White Rose, and they were just peaceful people who peacefully tried to go about their protests, and they all got executed for it. So it sort of inspired me to write that song about it. But I think the White Rose album itself is full of stories and things that have influenced me over maybe the last 5 or 6 years. So, and it's even more than that, in fact, time-wise. And I love a story with a song, and I love trying to get it down to fit into that 5 minutes and try and tell the whole story. And I think that's what Harry Chapin was all about. He loved doing that kind of idea as well.
Who's doing your harmony on that, on the White Rose? There's a harmony vocal there.
Oh, both of the vocals are me.
Well, the one, it's an excellent arrangement with the White Rose, and I was trying to pick it, and I thought it might have been you, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, I decided when I was doing it, I asked when I was in the studio, I said, I'd like to do that as double vocal, just at those certain points. And there's a girl sings on the CD with me and other songs as well. She's from Glasgow, and she's most of her family are all from Donegal, so it was great to have her alongside me singing.
And the new album, is it available, The White Rose, online, or can you get it at the gigs you'll be performing?
It's available to buy on the internet in a place called CD Baby. And you can download it on iTunes, but it's not. I don't actually bring it with me when I'm on the Celtic Thunder tours. No.
Right. Well, getting back to Celtic Thunder, I heard this year there's an opportunity for fans to experience something new on the tour, whereby fans can attend the Celtic Thunder show soundcheck in the afternoon prior to the show.
Yes, that was the thing that came along. There was a lot of fans had written to us and written through the website and written to Sharon Brown, the producer, and says, it'd be great to come in and see the guys doing the sound check and and Sharon opened that up to chat to see, what should we do about it. And so fans wanted to do it, and I think you can buy tickets to do that now as well.
I think it's a sound check party pass they can get if they want to go online on the Celtic Thunder website. They could probably find that. George, you've got a cruise coming up in November.
Yes, this is the first as well. So we started a fall tour. I think it's going to be the end of August, early September. And so what a lot of the fans had written says, they'd been on a cruise before and seen other groups. Would Celtic Thunder ever consider it? And it sort of kept the wheels rolling in Sharon Brown's mind. Maybe we should do one ourselves. So, and this is, I think we planned to do it last year initially, but it came down to I didn't think we had enough time to do it with the tour already arranged. So they slotted a 1 week in this tour.
I guess so there'll be new places, new faces to see, maybe some inspirational new songs to write.
Yeah, well, I'm always looking for inspiration myself.
you love meeting real people, don't you?
Yeah, I think, I know I was quoted as saying before, there's a song in everyone. I like to hear everybody's story, and then people just lead very interesting lives, and I'm always interested in hearing what makes people who they are. And everyone has definitely got an interesting story in them, whether they believe they have or not. It's what keeps us ticking, I think.
And Mythology's just about to come out, the new DVD?
Yep, that was recorded in August, before we went on tour in the fall in the States there. And it's phenomenal. I certainly think it's the best show that we've recorded. And we kept a lot of it quite quiet and never told anyone that we were actually working on it, so it's a big surprise, I think, when it does come out. There's a lot of great visual effects on it. The singing is absolutely phenomenal on it, I think, and I think the selection of songs that we've all chose for it is, again, it's going to be one of the major strengths of the show.
Well, we are all looking forward to seeing you on tour, and thank you again for taking the time out and talking to me, George, and the listeners this evening on the show, and good luck and good health to you.
No problem, Paul. Thank you very much for having us there.
All the best, George.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.